What's going on, Sumolings? Thank you so much for joining us for another product walkthrough webinar. I am Lindsay. Today, I am joined by the team over at bCast. This is a podcast hosting, distribution, and analytics platform designed to transform listeners into leads. It is available on AppSumo right now, starting at $79 for a lifetime deal. Before we dive into this tool, though, which I know you guys are very excited about, and many of you know it and love it, so we're excited to have you here. Before we dive into the walkthrough, I just want to tell y'all a few quick things. The first, if you want to tell us a little bit about your use case, why you're interested in bCast, you can do that in the chat room. If you have any questions about the tool, the deal, how to get set up, go ahead and leave your questions in the Q&A box down below this video. We'll circle back to them at the end of the walkthrough. And the last thing is that there will be a replay of this available. So if you need to step out or you just want to watch this again later, you totally can. It'll be available shortly after we're done recording. All right, that is enough of me. Hello, Tom. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. Thank you, Lindsay. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm very happy to have you back here. I'm going to go ahead and disappear. Let me know when you're ready to take questions after the walkthrough.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you, Lindsay, and thank you, everybody who is here to see my walkthrough of bCast. Can you see the screen? I'm assuming you can. You can put a little, if the chat is working, just say, yes, I can see the screen. Put a 1 in the chat. I assume I should be able to see that. But let's jump. Okay, yeah, I can see the chat. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Chelsea. All people with names beginning with C. Do we have anybody else whose name doesn't begin with C in the chat? We have Colleen again. Okay, we have Tammy, we have Lee. Okay, great. Awesome, guys. So first of all, I want to thank you so much for giving me your time, your valuable time on a Wednesday. I'm going to give a lightning tour of bCast, and then we're going to jump back around and I can answer any questions that you may have. So before we jump into the tour, I need to explain why are we here? Why did we build the thing? We built bCast because me and my co-founder Neil, he's the one who built the thing. He's technical. I'm the non-technical person, because we both love podcasts and have been podcasting for years, but we're also marketers, and we didn't feel that any of the podcast hosts on the market was serving us. And so approximately a year and a half ago, me and Neil got together, started building a podcast host that is built just for the marketer. And so what bCast consists of is everything you need to start, distribute, and grow a podcast, just like all the other podcast hosts. But then we've built, I think it's about 5 now, different features that are just focused on the marketer. So what the marketer, we're trying to enable the marketer to get the result that they are trying to achieve. And so that's why bCast exists. And so in this walkthrough, I'm going to take us through the basic stuff, the stuff that you would expect from a podcast host first. And I'll do that really quickly because it's quite easy. Like if you know anything about podcasts, you should know about these features. And then we'll spend a bit more time going through the more complex marketing focused features. So I hope that is good with everybody. If anybody does have questions as we go, do feel free to ping them in the chat. I can answer them as we go. And then of course we'll do questions at the end. So let's jump in. And so we're actually going to be jumping into my personal bCast account first. So when you log in, you'll see our basic screen here. You can have, depending on the number of codes you have, multiple podcasts. I think 1 code is 1 podcast, 2 codes is 3 podcasts, and it goes up. You can see I actually have 4, but there's only really 1 active podcast here. And so we're going to jump into it. This is my personal podcast, Confessions of a B2B Marketer. So the core thing that bCast does is create this. This is called the RSS feed, and it doesn't look like much on the internet because it's just a load of structured data about your podcast. But the magic of the podcast host is that this is the thing that goes into Spotify. This is the thing that goes into Apple, and this is the thing that goes into every directory that people subscribe to. And so we allow you to upload your images, your descriptions, and your audio, and then we give you this feed. This is the feed that goes everywhere. And so that's what every podcast host will do. And so let's just go through how we allow you to do that. So this is the screen you'll spend the most time on. This is where you create an episode. So let's look at a recent episode. This is where I interviewed a guy called Dave Schneider, who about SaaS and agency stuff. Here, we added our, ignore this, we'll talk about that in a second. Here we've added our description. you can upload your audio file. You can, if you have already made a video and put it on YouTube, you can paste a YouTube URL in there, convert the audio, and that will automatically upload. You add all this information, you add your show notes, etc. You can, and this is a marketing feature, so maybe we won't look at that yet. So that's everything you need to do to kind of set up an episode. You then push it live. You give the season number, the episode number. So at the same time as we allow you to do that and upload and get that sent to the directories, we will give you a podcast website. And so these podcast websites are actually quite controversial because some people say that they're boring and they're like, they don't look very good. I actually think they look beautiful. But if we get enough feedback, we will tweak these. And so this is a podcast website that's automatically generated for your site. You can see it in this tab here. You can add the custom domain, of course, and we allow you to put Google Analytics and Facebook on there as well. And so this will have all of your episodes. It also, we'll talk about that because it's marketing focused. And this is where we see the directories. So you'll add your directories into bCast so we can have them on the site. Now, you need to do Apple first. Once you've done Apple, you can give this to us and we'll submit you into the rest. So you can see my podcast here on Apple. So these are pulling from bCast. When you click play here, we'll get a download in bCast. And then if we jump to the episode screen, you can see we put the image here. This is a bCast player with a bCast brand. You can remove that with 3+ codes. RSS feed here if people want to click on it, description, and show notes. Now, note that the show notes have UTM links so you can see exactly where it's coming from. So again, these are all stuff that you would expect to see from your podcast host. You get a backlink from bCast to wherever you want, and our domain authority is pretty good. You can't see it there, but it's almost worth getting a code just to get the backlink, by the way, guys. This is to the feed, and these are to your social profiles and email address. So that's automatically generated when you create a podcast. Now, remember, we're just going through the basic podcast host stuff. We're not touching upon the exciting stuff. I forgot to show you this screen, which is where you set up all the settings for your podcast. Now, of course, analytics. We actually have a big update coming to analytics in the next, let's say, hopefully this week, where we're going to be giving you much more data on like what's happening with your podcast. So here's what we have right now. So this is January for my podcast. You can see here, got this many downloads. I think we only released one episode. We can see where they came from. The most downloaded episode was this one. And then we have this graph. So this is all we're showing you right now on analytics. With the update that's coming, we will have geography, e.g. where the downloads are coming from. We'll have some information on how long people have listened to, and we'll also have which directory they have come from. So that is analytics. Let me just think. Yeah, so that is pretty much the core functionality of a podcast host. I may have missed some stuff. Obviously, you can come here. We integrate. We'll talk about that later because it's a marketing feature. We have a question here. Anyways, to access the 14-day free trial without adding credit card? No, there isn't, I'm afraid. Nope. Oh, Lindsay's going to do this. Okay, it's going to be answered live. Thank you. Okay, so that is like the basic features of a podcast host. You can, of course, import. You can, as long as your podcast is an Apple, you can import that for free. It takes about 5 minutes to import all of your episodes. Now, let's talk about the more exciting features. The reason why you would choose bCast, say, over Anchor, over Podcast.co, over Transistor, over Simplecast, over Whooshka, over Castos. And these are the marketing focus features. So first, we're going to kick off with audio inserts. Let's say Ahrefs came and said, well, I want to sponsor your podcast for a month, and I want to pay you $500. If I was to do that, and I didn't have audio inserts, I would have to go and have my editor edit the 18 episodes I've released to put their ad at the start of the show. That is going to cost a significant amount of cash. Even if you're using your own software and you're doing it yourself, it's going to take a lot of time. And so what we have done is built something called audio inserts, where in a few clicks, we can upload the ad. You can see here, Ahrefs ad. We can then go here, select every single episode. You can see Ahrefs ad is on one of them already. We can select all 18 or so. We can say, I want to have the Ahrefs ad appear at the start. I want it to run from today, and I want it to run until Friday at Friday. I'd hit build, and then that is going to add that ad into the start of every episode in the backlog. And so that is going to save you a shed load of time. But the reason he's interesting for the marketer is you can create a CTA and put it into any selection of episodes for any period of time. So let's just say you had 10 episodes that were just focused on webinars, and you had an ebook that helped people convert people on webinars. Then you just put the webinar ad into the webinar podcast only up until for a month, because you only want to promote the ebook for a month. Or let's say you actually had a webinar about puppy training, and you had all of your episodes were about puppy training. The webinar's next Friday, you put an audio insert just for the next 7 days to advertise the webinar. And so it's a way to capture the attention you have on your podcast and direct them into a different place, ultimately to a conversion. It's a big challenge in the podcasting world, is how you convert listeners into leads. And so that is audio inserts, which are included in all plans. We have some chats. Okay, Colleen says, love that. I hate listening to a podcast where they make an offer, but the offer is expired. Colleen, you're totally right. I hate that as well. So that is one of our most powerful marketing focused features. Now, we can combine audio inserts with another marketing focused feature, which is the email list. So as I said, a big challenge for podcasters is converting listeners into leads. So as you can see on the podcast website, we put this form. Once you've created an email list, it's relatively easy. We put this form here on your podcast website. We will also put this form here on your player. So that might pick up a couple of email addresses. But when you create an email list, you also create this, which is called a bCast email. You can then read out the bCast email in the show. People can send a blank email address to that, and they'll get added to the email list. And you can also forward. So let's say your domain was bcast.fm. No, that's a bad example. Let's say your domain is sasmarketer.io. You could create an email address, forward it onto the bCast email address if you didn't want to read out the bCast email on your show. And those leads will come into bCast, and then you can send them through to your CRM through integrations. Right now, the only integrations we have are Email Octopus and Zapier webhooks. So you would need a premium account. Ignore the YouTube thing for now. And so what that does is, combined with audio inserts, allows you to easily generate leads from your listeners. Now, you might say, why would you just not read out a landing page for your listeners? We found that there's about a small 25% increase in conversion using an auto opt-in versus reading out a long, complex landing page. So that is the first two of the marketing features. Let's move on to the next one. One of the probably the most underutilized strategies for growing a podcast is taking the audio content you have and then distributing that through social, on your blog, etc., all these different places. It's actually amazing how much content you can get from a 20-minute podcast interview. And so the marketer obviously needs to maximize the value they get from the investment they're making in their podcast. And so we do a few things to help you with this. The first of which is obviously transcription. When you get codes, you get X amount of hours. It's 2 hours per podcast per month you get with the code that you can transcribe. And so the way this works, okay, we're going to jump into the chat with the questions. Can we set the time frame after adding an episode? Yes, you can. Here's for Teja. Yes, you can say, I want to run this ad for 4 days. You can do that for sure. So transcription, you simply upload your audio, hit this switch, choose, we only have US or English right now. We do have more languages in the pipeline. So let us know if you have a different language. Choose the contributors, and then you simply will hit save. This will, maybe let's do that now. Hopefully it'll be finished. So this is happening. You'll get an email when that's done. It normally takes 2 to 3 minutes. And also the download button will appear here. So that's happening in the background. Hopefully by the time we finish this, that will be ready. So that's the first thing we do. You take the audio, you turn it into text, you put that text either in your show notes or on your blog to get the SEO value. Next, we've integrated with Headliner. So Headliner enables you to create these pretty cool videos. So we can see here, it will take the audio. You can choose the clip because it's already been added into Headliner. You can choose the image, or the image has already been added. So I'm not very good at design, but you could just make this look really nice. And then you just go through the process. Headliner do have a free plan. You can do a certain amount of images, a certain amount of videos on the free plan. You can do this cool stuff. So that's a headliner. So again, we're taking a clip from the episode, creating a video, posting that onto LinkedIn, onto Facebook, onto Twitter. Next, okay, we'll let's just check this works. Okay, cool. So the next thing we're doing, and we can't see this because I've already done it on this episode, is we're allowing you to take this image and this audio and then push that through to a playlist on the YouTube channel. So the way we do this is we go to integrations. We'd obviously connect the YouTube channel. Let's try do an episode that hasn't been done yet. Okay, that one is converting. Cool. So this episode, we want to push onto YouTube. We can select the playlist. So I've connected the YouTube channel. This is Confessions of a B2B Marketer. I would convert and upload. And so that takes your audio and puts that onto YouTube. So again, we're getting more value from the audio content. We're pushing that out onto the social platforms with Headliner. We're getting the text and we're also pushing that out onto YouTube. So you can see here, this is an example of that episode. Now we are going to update this so we have that episode by either stretching out to the side, or we may enable you to upload an episode so it looks a bit better, because this feature is only launched like a week ago. So that's another way we are allowing you to get to syndicate or to distribute your audio content. Another, let's see on the questions while we're here so I can get a breath. I mean, let's suppose I want to, okay, we'll just do that question at the end. Next, another way to grow a show is to increase the likelihood that your guest is going to share. And so here we have our guest, AJ. We simply add his email address here, add him to the list. And then when the episode goes live, AJ gets an email with the share links to social platforms built into the email. So he clicks one button and get the share. We're seeing significant increases in the amount of guests that share when we from podcasts that use this feature. Obviously, you can put the podcast onto a subdomain or a full domain here using this feature. So you can put this on podcast.yourdomain.com or just yourdomain.com if you buy a new domain for your podcast. Now, do we have any other marketing related features? Yes. So we also allow you to take advantage of what I believe to be the best and most generous affiliate program in the world of podcasting. So you can sign up for our affiliate program on our website pretty easy, and then you can add your ID here. What this will do is that all the links, if you don't have the white label, from here will be your affiliate link, and we have 40% recurring commissions on that. So you could potentially get the money back from your deal just by referring one customer to us. Let's just check on the features just so I know that I'm not missing anything. So we've been through this: audio inserts, auto opt-in transcription, one-click submission, custom domains, guest notifications, podcast website, publish to YouTube, integrated affiliate, email opt-in, headline integration. I think we've been through all of those features. So guys, to summarize, we have built bCast because we want a podcast host that's built just for marketers. That's what we're trying to make exist. We are doing everything we can to build features that support this person, this marketer in their journey. And this is where we are so far. We've had 18 months and we have a massive pipeline of features requested to help build out this product to make it the ultimate podcast host for marketers. A lot of those features come from the SumoLink community. And so we're eternally grateful for all of the kind words and all of the suggestions we've had and the feedback we've had on the product, which I think has matured greatly since we did our last deal about 6 or 7 months ago. So I'm going to leave the demo there, and we are going to jump back to questions. I know we already have a couple, but Lindsay, maybe I will hand it back to you.
Yeah, let's answer these questions in the Q&A box, SumoLings. If you have any more questions, you can throw them there. Daniel asks, is that only at the beginning or end, or can you do mid-rolls?
It's a very requested feature. Right now, it's just beginning or end. We are working on mid-roll.
For the ads and call to actions, what does it sound like when it plays through? For putting it in the start, is it played before the intro of the podcast, or can you determine where it is played?
Same answer. So yeah, you can only add it at the start of the episode, so before anything in your episode, or right at the end, so after anything in your episode. we're working on mid-roll.
Right. With this YouTube integration, if we did video as well with our Zoom podcast recording, can you push the video as well?
So we don't allow upload of video. So if you're doing Zoom with your podcast recording, you have two choices. Either you just upload the Zoom video to YouTube, or you upload the audio here and then push it through to YouTube through bCast.
All right, we are really getting through these questions. So Sumalings, if you got any more, go ahead and throw them in the Q&A box. We just have one more right now. Does YouTube work the other way? Can I take a YouTube video and have bCast take the audio from that and make an MP3? It sounds like.
Yeah, so let's see. I actually don't want to do this because it's going to overwrite this. But yes, we have this feature here where you paste in the YouTube video and then you can convert and upload into bCast from here. So yes.
All right, so I know that there is a lot coming up in the pipeline. One person asks, are you planning an integration with SendFox? I'm curious in general, what is on the roadmap and what, and then I guess separate question, integrations, what's coming up, etc. We just got another one about, does this integrate with? So yeah, let's talk about integrations. Let's talk about roadmaps.
Yeah. So here's the roadmap. It is public. Everybody can see it. In terms of integrations, the next one we're going to tackle is Zapier. And I know Sumalings don't really like Zapier, but it's the one that's most requested from the marketplace. So that's coming first because that ticks off a lot of the other big ones. From there, we'll just do voting. And from my knowledge here, the email autoresponders at the top of that list are SendFox, MailChimp, and ConvertKit. These are the two that are the most requested that we expect to do direct integrations with at some point in the future. If anybody has any suggestions for integrations, we're tracking this all in the background. And so we have voting happening. So just hit us up on support and let us know exactly what you want, and we'll add your vote to the list. And then when we get round to more integrations, we're just going to work through them.
Fantastic. All right. Those are all of the questions that we have today. So we can go ahead and wrap this up. Sumalings, if you have not already, you can go to appsumo.com/bcast to redeem your codes. It is starting at $79 for a lifetime deal. Of course, this is backed by, thanks for pulling that up, backed by AppSumo's 60-day guarantee. So you can go ahead, get set up, play around with it, see how it works for you. Once you've done that, go ahead and leave your ratings here. You can see that we've gotten tons of reviews already for this tool, and people are loving it. It's got a 5 taco rating. So go ahead and leave your feedback there as well. And if you have any more questions that we didn't get to today, I am sorry, and you can leave those on the deal page as well. I got it before. This is a good question. I got it before. Can I stack more codes now?
Yep.
Go for it. Have a blast. All right. So if you got this deal the first time around, keep stacking. Thank you so much, Tom, for hanging out with us.
Just to add, Lindsay, can I just add one more thing before we finish? So yeah, I think that what I'd like to highlight finally, and I did mention this at all throughout the demo, it's actually highlighted by this. It's not a review, it's a comment from a Sumaling who bought the previous deal. And this is the thing that I actually think that we're doing really well at the moment. And this is why I'm really glad to see this comment saying that the support is super responsive. Right now, there's 3 people on support. We normally have 2. It's me and a guy called Chad. And we have like competitions to see how good the support can be. So if you do jump in and invest in the deal, just be aware that you're probably going to get exposed to some of the best customer support you've ever experienced for a SaaS product. So that is probably one of the reasons why we have a large number of 5-star reviews. I think we only have 1 or 2 negative ones, and I can't remember where they were. So that's what I'd like to finish on. Lindsay, I'd also like to thank you for being such a wonderful host. And I'd also like to thank everybody here for listening and giving us their time.
Yeah, we appreciate having you. Sumalings, thank you for being here today. And thank you so much for coming back to AppSumo. We love to have you here. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.